Good morning, friends. I'm coming to you with fresh bedhead and with my face all marked up from my CPAP mask because it is first thing in the morning, and today I'm recording another one of my what I eat in a day for my menstrual cycle videos. And I'm hungry, so I don't want to have to wait until my face calms down. Yeah, I slept pretty hard last night, so the mask kind of left a dent, but it's fine. We'll be fine. Today's video is regarding the ovulation phase of the menstrual cycle, and the ovulation phase is the most intense phase hormonally speaking. It's also the shortest phase. During your ovulation cycle, you are experiencing the highest peak of hormones in the entire month, and your brain kind of shifts to baby making mode, whether that's your actual real life intention or not. Hormonally speaking, that's what your body is preparing for. That's its function. Your reproductive system is meant to reproduce. And so that's what it's going to attempt to do, whether you're actually on board or not. Before we get too much further into the video, hi, I'm Desiree, Mama Friendly, and I've done videos so far on the menstrual phase and on the follicular phase. I'm going in order through the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. We're on the third part now, which is ovulation, as I mentioned, and I'm trying to do a video for each of the phases that shows you a typical day of eating for me. And I also try to include movement, because cycle syncing is not just about changing your nutrition to support what phase of your cycle you're in. It's also about changing just your lifestyle generally. And that includes the way that you move to support your body. I also want to make abundantly clear, as I have in all of my other videos, that I am not an expert and I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing my experience. I have found that this has really helped me with my sleep. It's helped me with my mood overall. And so I like the idea of sharing my experience, because some people know about cycle syncing, other people don't. And so if I could just put the information out there just so that it starts a conversation and gets you thinking, maybe this could be beneficial for me, let me talk to my doctor, let me do my own research, etc., then I feel like I've accomplished my job. So back to the ovulation phase. In this phase, as far as your nutritional needs, you're likelier to be a little less hungry because, again, your body is shifting to baby making mode, so it's not really even thinking about eating, which is wild to me. But because of the way you're moving, because you're higher energy and so on, your body is likely to start craving lighter foods, fresh foods, like not cooked foods, basically salads, fresh produce, fresh veggies and fruit, things like that. But also, it's a really good time to incorporate cruciferous veggies, sulfurous veggies, things like broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, etc., because these are going to help your system pull all the extra estrogen. Remember, I said this is the peak of hormonal activity, right? So your estrogen's through the roof, everything's through the roof, and you need a certain amount of estrogen to complete your cycle. But estrogen is something that could very easily become too much, and estrogen dominance is something that is common, especially if you have PCOS, and it's not a good thing. It's something where the estrogen could get in the way of the other hormones doing their job, like performing their function. So eating stuff like cruciferous vegetables helps bind the extra estrogen you might have floating around in your system, and it helps you eliminate it so it doesn't cause any trouble. When it comes to this video and food, I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing with the other videos, meaning that I am going to include macros for all of my meals, and I do this in case you're also doing some other sort of secondary lifestyle. Like, for example, me, I eat gluten and dairy free. That's not necessarily a lifestyle, it's more like allergies, but also I aim for at least 100 grams of protein a day. I feel like that's what makes me feel most satiated. That's what makes me feel not bloated and like not heavy and bleh. So I try to get at least 100 grams of protein every single day. Maybe you're doing lower carb, maybe you're doing a certain amount of calories a day, etc. And so I feel like I'd rather put the information out there, and if you don't need it, that's fine, leave it, don't use it. But if you do need it, how helpful is that, right? That it's already there. So that being said, I understand that calorie talk especially, or like talk of fat grams or carbs or whatever, might be triggering for people. And if that's the case, I'm letting you know now, go ahead and click away. I won't be offended. I completely understand. I do want to let you know though before we get too much deeper into the situation. I also mentioned earlier that in this video I'm going to include like workout ideas. For me personally, in the ovulation stage, since it's my highest energy stage, I like to do dance workouts. I've been favoring dance workouts more lately anyways, but I feel like this is when my body really wants that extra intensity and extra movement. So I love Zumba. The Fitness Marshal in particular has been a big favorite of mine lately. There's an option to pay $20 a month to access all of their workouts because they have 30-minute and 60-minute like live stream workouts. But you don't have to do that. You could also just get their free videos. They have like, 2-3 minute complete songs that you can create your own playlist. And you can also work out that way completely for free on YouTube. So, not sponsored or anything, I wish. But I just really, really love them. And so I'm going to have their channel linked down below. I always do that whenever I include a workout. I try to link the workout down below. But because it's a paid subscription, I might not be able to link the exact workout I'm doing today, so I'll just link the channel. And speaking of the description box, I'm going to be linking my cycle syncing playlist because I've got a ton of recipes, what I eat in a day's, grocery hauls, etc. within that category, I guess, at this point. So I'll link the playlist down below. I'll link the other two what I eat in a days that I've done so far, the one for menstrual phase and the one for the follicular phase. And I'm also going to link a video that I created for cycle syncing workouts, how I sync up my calendar as far as like what days I'm going to do what exercise to my cycle. So if that's something that interests you, I did make a video about that and I'll post it down below in the description box as well. One last thing I want to include about the ovulation phase that I feel like I should have included probably earlier in the video, but I just whooped and forgot, is how long it lasts. So the ovulation phase, so far it's been pretty cut and dry, right? Menstruation lasts about a week, follicular phase lasts about a week. Ovulation technically only lasts about 3 days. But the thing about ovulation is that you can't really ever quite pinpoint unless you're extremely, extremely, extremely regular, and that's actually a rarity. People, the obstetric community, the gynecology community, they do everything based on the perfect woman with the perfect cycle that never deviates, and that woman, I'm not saying she doesn't exist, but I'm saying I've never met her. So there's a window of about 5-6 days where ovulation may occur, and within that window you have about 3 days where potentially you might fall pregnant. One of those days is your actual ovulation day. So if you're trying to conceive or even trying to avoid conception, and you're using a natural method, like you're not using hormonal birth control, or if you're relying only on barrier methods or on no methods at all if you're trying to conceive, then you probably are going to need to do ovulation tests, OPKs they're called in the community, to really narrow down exactly when you're ovulating every month, because a window is pretty much all most women can rely on, but that's not super reliable if you're trying to, particularly if you're trying to avoid, but also if you're trying to conceive, it's important for you to know. So all that information's out there now. I think I've set you up pretty good for the video. Let's make breakfast because I'm hungry. Alright, kiddo's up now, so there's going to be some background noise, but that's totally fine, right? This is a real life house with a real life family living in it. For breakfast, I'm going to have 3 eggs. I'm going to scramble them with about a cup of spinach. The name of the game today is added fiber and throwing veggies in wherever I can. So I'm going to get about a cup of spinach. I'm going to wilt it down. And once it's wilted, I'm going to probably drain it because this releases a lot of water. And I'm going to scramble up my eggs, throw them on top, and let them cook. I'm also going to have 4 slices of bacon for the protein. I'm going to have this whole container probably of blackberries. I wanted raspberries, but for whatever reason, my Instacart shopper couldn't find them, so blackberries it is. And then you already know I got my toasted marshmallow nut pods here. I've got my cold brew with exactly 1 day's worth of coffee left in it. I only drink decaf. I always have my cold brew pitcher going in my fridge. And this is actually a brand new one that I got in the last month. I've been using a plastic one, and it occurred to me, like, for years I've taken so much care to have glass Tupperware. Like, nothing in my kitchen is plastic if I can help it. Everything I use is stainless steel, cast iron, or glass, because plastic is an endocrine disruptor. You don't want to be storing your food in plastic. You don't want to be reheating your food in plastic, so on and so on and so on, right? And yet every day I'm drinking decaf that's just been sitting in plastic. So about 3 weeks ago, I got myself this cold brew pitcher. It is glass. The lid is plastic, but like, what are you gonna do? That's just the nature of things. So that doesn't come in direct contact with the coffee anyways, unless it's being poured, and that's obviously minimal. But the carafe itself is glass, and then the inner bit that holds the coffee grounds while it's brewing is steel. So very much enjoying this. I'll have this linked down below in case you want to make a similar switch. But I'm going to be having my regular pint of decaf cold brew with my coffee creamer. And y'all already know I switched up the flavor of my Torani syrup again this month. I'm using the white chocolate Torani. I don't do sugar-free. I'm only going to have a little bit of sugar in the day anyways, so I want it to be the real stuff. So I do 2 pumps of the white chocolate along with my creamer and my cold brew, and we're good to go. So, oh my gosh, phone, I know. Now that you know what I'm going to be eating, let me get to cooking and I'll show you my plate before I dig in. So here's breakfast finally. Kiddo saw my bacon and decided he wanted some too, so I had to scrap what I was already making him and stop and make him his own bacon. But I've got my coffee with my nut pods and my syrup, 4 slices of bacon, let's say 6 ounces of blackberries, whatever was in the container, my 3 scrambled eggs with spinach. I threw some hot sauce on top. I don't know what it is about scrambled eggs. I feel like they need hot sauce. Fried eggs, sunny side up, whatever. Not necessary, but scrambled needs to have hot sauce. And for this entire breakfast, 535 calories, 33 grams of protein, which is a fantastic start to the day, 28 carbs, 10 grams of fiber, mostly from the blackberries, I'm assuming some from the spinach, and 32 grams of fat. I use my MyFitnessPal, by the way, to calculate all my macros always, but that looks like a very good, satisfying breakfast, and my macros are on point, so I'm very happy about that. Alright, my pals, it is lunchtime, and I have such like hearty meals planned today and such veggie heavy meals that I'm actually wondering if I'm gonna want to eat all of it, because it just feels like a lot of food to me. So let me show you what I'm planning for lunch. We got some salmon. You guys know I've been eating a lot of salmon the last few months. It's a good source of omega-3s, it's a good source of healthy fats, obviously a good source of protein, and it's just yummy. So I've got 1.25 pounds here, I think, or thereabouts. I'm probably going to use half of it right now for lunch, and I'll put the other half away for tomorrow. I'm going to get some spring mix because I've got a bunch that I got to get through. And speaking of, I've got this sad cucumber here, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw him in there, make myself a little salad with my Catalina dressing. I mentioned this in the last video. I've been on a kind of a Catalina kick for the last several weeks, and it's just like French dressing. It's like a sweet but tangy dressing, and the ingredients are not like the greatest. Waiting for it to focus here. Yeah, like there's a lot of stuff in here that's kind of unpronounceable, so it's not the sort of thing I typically reach for, but it's just tasty, and it's what I'm craving, and it's helping me get through all these veggies. And so one thing we're going to make perfectly clear here is that adding dressings, adding stuff to your veggies does not diminish their nutritional value. You're still getting all of the great micronutrients, fiber, what have you, from these veggies, whether they're dressed up or not. So if dressing them up is going to make you eat more of these, then you do what you gotta do. Lastly, I'm gonna round it out with one of these little brown and wild rice cups. I thought I didn't like brown rice, it's just that I didn't know how to prepare it, and I'm still not great at it. So typically I'll get these little like minute cups, which again, we're microwaving in plastic, not my favorite thing, but this way I know it's going to turn out good. It's actually really good, this brown rice. And this way I don't have to commit to eating an entire pot of brown rice over the next several days. I just have my one serving and we're good to go. So you see, we do what we can. We're not aiming for perfection here, but every little bit towards a healthy body helps. So here's lunch. We've got our spring mix, our cucumber. I just put salt and pepper on it, and our Catalina dressing. I've got all my vitamins back here. We've got our brown and wild rice. Our 10 ounces of salmon, I just put garlic salt and ginger on these, and I pan fried them in some avocado oil spray. Got my big old jug of water, and according to my Fitness Pal, this is equal to 587 calories, 55 grams of protein, not bad, 55 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fiber, and 16 grams of fat. This is going to be a very filling lunch, I think, and I'm thinking I might be having a later dinner as a result, which is totally fine. Kiddo is in a very playful mood right now. But dinner time doth approach, so I'm going to actually make a sheet pan meal that I've made for the channel in the past. I actually have a whole collection of sheet pan meals where like one corresponds to each phase of the menstrual cycle. I had to think about how to word that. But that video is right up here, and in that video you're going to find the recipe I'm about to make. This is going to basically be a chicken and cruciferous veggie sheet pan meal that comes together super fast. I am altering it slightly to use what I have because in the original recipe I used fresh asparagus, but I have frozen here, so I don't think I'm even going to put this in the oven. I think I'm just going to prepare it like however the directions say, and I'll just season it and add it to the plate at the end. But I'm going to roast one of these chicken breasts, and I'll save the other one for tomorrow, I guess. And I'm also going to roast all of these Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts are all for me because nobody else in my house eats them. I'm also going to use some olive oil and some balsamic vinegar to kind of dress everything up. And that's going to be my dinner. The whole thing should come together in like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something once the oven is preheated. And for this meal, the macros are 565 calories, 69 grams of protein, 43 grams of carbs, 18 grams of fiber, and 13 grams of fat. So I have the final count here that brings the total calories of the day to 1,687. We got 157 grams of protein, so 1.5 times what I was going for. Perfect. 126 grams of carb, 34 grams of fiber. Now here's where I'm really impressed with this meal situation of the day, with this what I eat in a day. You're supposed to get 25 grams of fiber a day. Nobody does that. Very rarely do people do that, certainly on any sort of regular basis. But fiber is so important for your gut health, for your heart health. It's just important overall to your system. I feel like besides protein, if there's one thing that I really need to like get on as far as reaching a specific goal every day, it's my fiber intake. And I think 34 grams out of the lofty goal of 25, I mean, above and beyond, right? I'm very happy with that. And lastly, 61 grams of fat. So overall, a really nicely balanced day of eating. I've felt very satisfied with all my meals so far. I know dinner is going to be great because I've had this recipe before. And so I'm feeling really good about the nutrition aspect of what I eat in a day. So I'm going to prepare my dinner, eat my dinner, hang out a little while to digest, and then you already know what time it is. It's going to be workout time. Alright friends, I just finished my workout. It was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the fitness Marshall lately, which I'm sure I already mentioned. I will have his channel linked down below. The workout I was doing specifically was the Pride themed workout from June of last year, but again, you can only access it if you subscribe to their membership, which is about $20 a month. But you could always put together a playlist, and they actually have a bunch of playlists they made just in January. They created a bunch of new playlists. Some of them are themed to like genre of music, and others are themed like light workout, moderate workout, heavy workout, like cardio wise, or maybe it's by difficulty of choreography. Point is, there's all sorts of free stuff on the channel, so you could try it out, see if you like it, and who knows, maybe you might decide that the subscription is worth it. If Zumba or Latin dance is more your thing, which I also really love, there's a channel called Zumba Sulu that got me through those first few months of COVID. Love the channel, and so I'll have that one linked down below as well. And if walking workouts, like walking to a beat, walking in place, a little bit of dance is more your thing, there's a guy called Keone. I think his channel is called Reps to the Rhythm. That's another one that got me through the first few months of quarantine. Before I started doing yoga more frequently. Really love that channel, and that's actually a good place to start if you're brand new to cardio workouts. Highly recommend him, so I'll go ahead and I'll put his channel down below as well. But overall, a great day in my ovulation phase. The meals were fantastic, very filling, very tasty, super easy to throw together for the most part, and the workout was great. There's only one more video left in this series. Next time I'll be doing a what I eat in a day for my luteal phase, which is the phase between ovulation and menstruation. It's the longest phase. It lasts about 2 weeks for most people, and it's the phase where, you know, right now we're currently at our peak hormonally and energy wise, right? Menstruation is the very bottom of both of those things. So the luteal phase is the gradual decline, and as such, we're gonna slow things down a little bit. We're gonna focus on more carb heavy foods, richer foods, but we'll get to that when we get to that, right? So I hope you guys have been enjoying this series so far. If you have any questions about my experience with cycle syncing, let me know in the comments and I will address them in the next video. I'm trying to think how I can continue this series as far as like cycle syncing. Do you guys want to see more recipes like I did last year? Or do you want to see a video on like the supplements and things I take? Should I just continue what I eat in a day series, period, regardless of, you know, outside of cycle syncing rather? Just would you want to see what I eat in a day typically as a gluten and dairy free person? Let me know all that too. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for being here and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click the notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!